It was not until 1452 that a German engineer named Urban presented himself before the Sultan and offered to build him a cannon that would blast the walls of Babylon itself. The first of these had accounted for the Venetian ship off Rumeli-Hisar. Mehmet then ordered another, double the size. This was completed in January 1453. It is said to have been nearly 27 feet long, with a barrel 2.5 feet in diameter. The bronze was 8 inches thick. When it was tested, a ball weighing some 1,340 pounds hurtled through the air for well over a mile before burying itself 6 feet deep in the ground. 200 engineers were sent out to prepare for the journey of this fearsome construction to Constantinople, smoothing the road and reinforcing the bridges, and at the beginning of March it set off, drawn by 30 pairs of oxen, with another 200 men to hold it steady. The Sultan himself left Adrianople on 23rd March. Medieval armies, particularly if they were carrying siege equipment, moved slowly, but on the 5th of April he pitched his tent before the walls of Constantinople, where the bulk of his huge host had arrived 3 days before. Determined to lose no time, he at once sent under a flag of truce the message to the emperor that was required by Islamic law, undertaking that all subjects of the empire would be spared, with their families and property, if they made immediate and voluntary surrender. If they refused, no mercy would be shown. As expected, his message remained unanswered. Early in the morning of 6 April, his cannon opened fire. The people of Constantinople, too, had been at work, repairing and strengthening the defenses, clearing out the moats, laying in stores of food, arrows, tools, heavy rocks, and anything else that they might need. Meanwhile, their emperor had sent further appeals to the west, but the response had as usual been lukewarm. In February, the Venetian Senate had finally agreed to the dispatch of two transports, each carrying 400 men, with 15 galleys, as soon as they could be prepared. But this fleet did not leave the lagoon until 20 April. Fortunately for the honor of the Serenissima, the Venetian colony in the city produced a nobler response, undertaking that none of its vessels would return home. In all, the Venetians were able to provide 9 merchantmen, including 3 from their colony of Crete. It must sadly be recorded that, in defiance of their promise, on the night of 26 February, 7 Venetian ships carrying some 700 Italians slipped out of the Golden Horn and headed for home. The defenders also included a Genoese contingent. Many of them came, as might have been expected, from the Genoese colony at Galata, the largely foreign quarter of Constantinople, lying to the northeast of the Golden Horn. In addition, there was an honorable group from Genoa itself, some 700 young men, who had been appalled by the pusillanimity of their government. It had promised Constantine just one ship, and had determined to fight for Christendom. Their leader, Giovanni Giustiniani Longo, was a member of one of the Republic's leading families, and a renowned expert in siege warfare. Allies like these were more than welcome, but though they may have afforded the emperor some encouragement, they cannot have given him any real hope. His ships in the Golden Horn numbered just 26, a pitiable number in comparison to the Ottoman fleet. Towards the end of March, he had ordered his secretary, George Sfrandzes, who has left us a full account of the siege, to make a census of all the able bodied men in the city, including priests and monks, who could be called upon to man the walls. The population of the city had been dramatically reduced by 10 separate visitations of the Black Death in the previous century. Nonetheless, the final figure was far worse than he could have imagined: 4,983 Greeks and rather less than 2,000 foreigners. To defend 14 miles of walls against Mehmed's army of 100,000, he could muster less than 7,000 men.